Welcome to the Maple and Blossom Podcast Store, episode 22. I am one of your hosts, Blossomer, as always, and I have my co-host.
Hi, Maple here. So, how have things been going with you, Blossom?
Oh, just so busy week. It was so busy for like family's visit, so I've been busy with that and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that is what I've been working, kind of like been keeping me away. I know we really haven't like talked a whole lot this week.
Yeah.
But yeah. You did get a box from me though, so I'm hoping you're enjoying your snacks.
Yes, actually, there's a lot of really good stuff in here. I'll tell you that much. I want to just dig
I'm
in and
so
just start eating
glad.
them all.
No, you cannot eat on the podcast though.
No, no, no. Yeah, besides
Okay,
that, I've been busy shoveling, so snow.
oh, it just is snow for you, yeah.
So I'm excited for this month because it's Isekai month. And
Yeah, this is it is funny because I've watched like I say I'm a little bit ahead on
yeah,
like animes. I'm like the ones that we have listed, I'm on like the third one already,
yeah,
and it is one that I have seen before, and it is actually better than I remembering it. So far, all of the three that we have, like the three that I have watched so far for this month, is actually like I'm like, oh wow, these are. I have not like made them like the scores are not as low. In
yeah.
fact, they are actually a lot higher than I thought they were going to be. Especially this one because I went into this one. So real quick, this one is I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world. Now this one I had no idea about this anime going into it.
Yeah.
And I know you just kind of put it on the list.
Yep.
And then I realized that you were like, oh yeah, this is actually like so good. I watch it like a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know you watched this one at all. I had no idea. So it's gonna be interesting. I was like, when I was going through, I'm like, yeah, this actually it's like really good. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Like I watch this a lot.
Yeah. I think this time around this was like my, I don't know, 13th, 14th time. Like
Oh my god! So you guys watch it way so much.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did not realize that you watch it this much.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen this way too much. But yeah, I'm excited for this month. I'm tired of winter. I want to be Isekai too. Somebody take me away. Get me out of this winter.
You know what you're not getting? You're getting isekai to Japan.
Yeah.
But you get
Hokkaido.
Hokkaido.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so hilarious. That'd be so hilarious. I just laugh so hard.
All right. Why don't we just jump in? Let's start
Yeah,
off
I will,
episode 1.
we
Let's
would-
go.
Okay. So, episode 1 starts off with our main character Yuya. He's like outside a convenience and he sees a girl being harassed. So he goes to try and like stop the people who are harassing her.
Yep.
And he just gets completely like beat up. And he just gets completely destroyed. And I'm just like, I feel so bad for him. The girl ends up being okay, which is great, right? And it's a showcase too that he is like the misfit of his family, where he's like overweight, he's always being mistreated like at school, and his parents like just. Can you please shed light on why? What did his parents not like about him? Like, why was he just like bullied? Oh my god!
That's it. It's literally it. So everything is tied. Everything is tied into his weight. So his parents basically adore his siblings because they're thin, athletic, and they're good looking. Smart and good looking. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Where he's fat because of the fact that he's overweight and stuff. They really do. You know, there's constantly like early on with his mother like throwing his clothes at him, calling him fat. So Don't put your smelly clothes in, like, the laundry with us, and um, constant things like that's happening throughout this entire thing early on. And yeah, like you
Mm.
say, like when you start seeing more and more of it, it's like you really do feel bad for him.
Yeah, I end up feeling so bad for him, honestly. I'm like, oh, that is so sad. But he had one person who believed in him, and it's his grandfather,
Yeah,
right? Um, so his grandfather passed away, right? And left him his home,
everything. Left
I
everything.
guess.
He left
Just left
everything to him.
everything to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that probably didn't make his parents like very happy, I guess. I don't know.
No,
They
they
might be
tried to
happy
sue.
that he's just not even there.
No, they tried to sue.
Mm.
So they tried to sue him to get the possessions, but he states but grandfather was smart and he had an ironclad will, so they weren't actually able to get the house from me. So in
Oh,
exchange, they abandoned me, and it shows them like
okay.
walking out of the house, and they're basically like, "Fine, screw you. The house is yours, but we're not going to deal with anything with you anymore. You're on your own." So that's where he says he's been doing part-time jobs, a series of part-time jobs just to kind of make ends meet, to kind of keep going.
Yeah, well, that all goes away very soon.
Yep.
So, it is shown too that he completely snaps one day because like he's just miserable, right? And like so he's in the house and he like punches out a mirror, and he's like punching walls and stuff, and he's like so like upset, right? And he reveals the secret room with the weird door.
Yep.
So he enters the room, which introduces him to his isekai, right? Which is very interesting because like yeah, his grandfather just had a house with a secreted door that puts him into a different world.
Well, it's funny
So
because
he's like, mm,
when you watch him walk in, the main focus is showing the weird door, but he's literally walking past a floating cube. There's like this part where
mm.
he's like looking at the door and he's like walking in. There's literally a red floating cube by his head, and he just walks right past it and just focuses on the door. So there is a lot of
So
it shows there's a lot of unique things within the room, um, besides that one in particular. But yeah, he says that he hears a voice, something that was calling to him, and that's what drew him to the door.
so yeah, he starts to practice with all these like weird weapons. And also when he's in this world, monsters are like trying to attack the house. But there's like a magic barrier that
Yeah,
stops enemies from getting into the like area of where the house is, like the yard and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um so he is able to he like kills a monster from like in the safe area of the house. Like he can throw stuff out of the area,
but nobody can
but
come
he
in.
cannot be attacked
Yeah,
unless he like allows them to come into the area, right?
yeah.
Which is like a really kind of neat sort of ability that he has.
He inherited.
And
He inherited.
yeah.
So essentially,
Mm-hmm.
when he goes through the door, he's immediately greeted with a title, kind of like a video game. It's like a pop up, like a screen pop up, and it says, "You're the master of the door. You're the master of the house." And finds a letter, and it's from a guy who calls himself Sage, and he says that I'm the one who created. This is my house. This is my cabin. I created the force field, and he kind of gives like a brief description of the house, and says, everything here is now your property. I leave it all to you, kind of thing. So, and then he's the one who created the weapons. And when he throws the weapon, because as soon as he goes out, he checks his stats, because again, it's like a video game for him, right? So he's like, oh, let me just check my world stats, and he's all one. He's literally just complete nothing. He's just garbage. Like every stat, every skill is one, and that's what surprises him, because when he throws the spear, he immediately, even though he's level 1, he destroys a level, what was it, like a 300 monster?
Yeah, just like very high level
Yeah,
monster.
he
Or
destroys
maybe
it
the
right away.
monster was like was it that high?
Yeah, it was
Was it
200 or 300.
200?
It was
Yeah, I think it
200 or
was like
300 or something
200.
like that. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Mm-mm-mm.
he immediately kills him, and he goes from level 1 to 100. And I like how he does it throughout this, is because he never once takes credit for the power himself. He always he was looking at the web. He's like, oh, what, what kind of weapon maker what were you, Sage? Like he's always praising Sage as the one who like gives him this kind of power to be able to actually do these things.
And I like that too because he also he's very humble.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of like that where he's not like, oh yeah, I did this all myself. This is so like, oh, I'm so great. I'm the greatest. Like he never once ever
No.
says stuff like this.
No.
He's always like thankful for the people that he ends up being surrounded with and stuff like this, right? And at this moment, like he's now starting to like train and stuff. So this is like he wakes up like the next day and like now he's hot.
Yeah. He's taller and like immediately buff.
I was so shocked. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Hey, hey, step bro, did you
Yeah.
get hot?
I was just like, oh okay,
Yeah.
well, cause like the first like 10, 15 minutes of the anime, he's like overweight and like
Yeah.
typical like loser character. And the one thing too I like about his character is even throughout the whole like anime, he's never like, oh my god, I don't even know if this girl likes me. Like
Yeah.
he's never really like that stupid like oblivious kind of like loser character. You know, he grows into his power, he grows into the stuff that he's able to obtain
Yeah.
through this world and stuff like that, and he never takes anything for granted, and he's always like being very humble and thankful for everything that he has. And you know, like there's even times like, wow, I'm so lucky that I'm like getting all the like, why is this stuff happening to me? Like
Yeah.
it could be happening to anyone, but like I'm so lucky that. And he's just like always cautious too because it's like he knows how bad his life was before this.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't really want to do anything to screw any of this up. I don't want to mess any of this up. So like he's very like I said, he's just very humble throughout the whole thing. And I'm like, I really like the way a lot of these characters were written, where they really didn't have a lot of the bad anime cliches. And I
Yeah.
really like this anime too. I know we're not even like getting it, right? But like real quick is like I love how it is a slice of life and an isekai
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really neat where they like showcased both like worlds pretty decently. Like they never just spend all time in one world and all time in other
Yeah.
world, and like
Yeah.
they're really good at splitting what things are happening in his life in both aspects. So it was really neat. And then at the end he goes back to Skuru and everyone is just freaking out because they're like, wait, who the heck is this guy? He's like so good looking, right? Also another quick thing too is like I think it's neat that like items he gets in the isekai world, he can
Converts.
convert it into real world yen.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that is like so good. Like now he'll never have any problem ever again.
Well, that's
Like
just
it's
it.
like this world is helping him fix like everything that was poor and made his life like miserable.
Yep.
So yeah, at the end of this episode, you see his brother and his sister's like, there's no way that's you. Like, what the heck? Like, how the heck did you
were
do
such
this
a
in, like,
loser.
2
How
weeks?
could you be like
Yeah,
this?
you were such a loser. Mhm.
Yeah.
And they're still like putting him down, and like people are trying to like get to know him now that he look good, and his brother's just like, don't get near him. He's still that fat loser, right?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And so they're outside of the school, and a mysterious girl shows up. And that's kind of where this episode ends. So I don't know if you have anything else for episode
No.
1, and if you want to jump us into episode 2.
Yeah.
I kind of did a lot of the talking
That's
in
okay.
this episode 1, so I will leave episode 2 to you.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
no, it's actually. So yeah. So as we go through, it starts off again with the same girl who approaches them, and she immediately looks at him and she recognizes him right away. So she's like, she kind of calls out and says his name, like, Yuya, is that you? And he's like, yes. And she explains, like, I'm the girl that you helped out when the guys were harassing me. And I like how she even makes note of, like, oh, have you slimmed down a little? Like, she makes note of it, but he asked her, like, well, how do you know my name? Like, how did you know it was me? And she's like, well, you have the same eyes. So like she was recognizing, like yeah, you've changed physically, but like you still got those same caring kind eyes that um that were looking at me when you helped me kind of thing. So she
I really like
explains,
this aspect of this girl whose her name is Kari,
yeah,
and I really like Kari because she's not she shows throughout this whole thing and conversations they have later on. It's like, listen, I'm never. I like you because you're a kind and gentle person. I
yeah,
don't care if you look good. I don't care if you were fat. Like I don't care.
yeah,
Like you have like a gentle soul, and that's what I like about you.
yeah,
Right. So that I really like.
same,
Again, it's like the humble. Like I'm not gonna just like you for your looks, but it's
yeah,
like I actually like you because you are actually a good person.
yeah,
So again, this character like it's a like theme throughout like this show. Like all of his friends that he makes, like they're actual, genuinely real connections and stuff like
yeah.
that. But yeah, sorry.
No, 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 no. I agree, and that's the thing. Like, you really go through and you really get a good sense when you start introducing each one of them, and especially through this next part. So she kind of explains like I've had you investigated because I really wanted to kind of give my thanks because of helping me out, and the others immediately recognize her school uniform. And so for her, they're like, "Oh, that's Osei Academy. That's the
Say
it's an extremely elite school." And she explains that she's an officer on the council, and her father's the chairman of the board. And as more of a thank you for him, they they wanted him to join the school. And she's like, "Yeah, my father's going to pay the tuition." And then he kind of immediately, again, he immediately shuts it down like, "Oh, I can't, like I don't really have like the academic ability to join such an elite school." And at this point his brother and sister decide to step in and again like put him down, saying we're both athletically and academically superior to this guy over here, so you should
yeah,
just
it's
you
like
should
he's
just
just a
let us
loser.
join.
And I literally have in my notes it says Kaori thoroughly destroys them.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, I've also had you investigated. I know the shit that you've done. Sorry, I know the stuff that you've done as well.
Yeah, she's like your deeds and
and
your
she,
words. She's like your deeds and your words have not gone unnoted. Um,
hmm and they just like they are so shocked. Where they're like, what, you had us investigated too? What the heck? Right? So
well, that's just it, and
they were
she
like,
and she says like
oh, I'm
I'm.
so glad. She just absolutely I was just like, oh yeah, you go, Carrie, let's go. I was so happy
Well, and that's what she
because
said because
she just destroyed them so
she's
good.
like she basically says she's like I'm deeply indebted to him. So she's like, why would I let people like you who insult him like enroll? Um, and then she turns to Yuya and she basically explains like our school values strength of character over any kind of academic ability. So she's like, you wouldn't have to worry. Like you've already shown me. Like she's basically reassuring him. Like you've already shown me, what's in your heart. You've already shown me what, you're willing to do for others. So she's like, you don't have to actually worry. So it's at this point, I don't. Is it her handler? I don't know, her butler. I don't really know. the woman
Yeah, her
with her.
partner. Yeah, like her driver
Yeah.
or whatever she is. Yeah.
So she basically explains to the Kaori. She's like, "Well, why don't you just show him around the school?" She goes, "Maybe that might, help with his decision, kind of thing." Um, so he eventually agrees, and she kind of like grabs a hold of him, like drags him into the car. So they end up going to the academy, and he immediately meets her father, and he basically thanks her, and he's like he thanks him for like saving his daughter, and he's like, I didn't really do anything, like I just I was just there, and he was like, yeah, but you did, because he was like, out of everyone who was standing around watching, you were the only one who actually attempted to jump in to do anything. It's like it really showed a bravery that we really like. And then again, he reiterates the same kind of thing that this school praises character over anything else. And then of course he invites the teacher, Sawada Sensei. She, she's the best.
She
Freaking love,
this
I love
character's
her.
hilarious. This character is like there's like one singular episode where I'm just like,
Yeah,
Okay, this
yeah.
character is so hilarious.
She's the absolute best. So he basically explains like, you go attend your class, and then we'll kind of talk later about everything. So she goes and introduces him to the class, and she explains to them before he even walks in. She's like, don't, don't get phased out. Like, don't let this shake you up too much, guys. So he walks in, and of course, everyone's just staring at him blankly. Like, he's of course like, oh no, what do they think of me? Do they not like me? Like, oh no, are they gonna bully me again? And then everyone's just like sitting there looking at him, going, "Oh my god, he's so handsome! Wow, this guy's like insanely handsome. Oh, he's so handsome."
Oh, is he like a model or
Yeah.
something? Like, where they find this guy? Yeah, they kind of like are going like they're losing their mind, right?
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
Yeah, so then of course Sawada snaps him out of it, and he goes and he starts learning. So the first thing he says is like, he's kind of taken back by the students in the school, because he basically says is like, it's just like any other class. He's like, it's the exact same kind of stuff that I would learn at the other school, but it's just
Mm.
the students here are just more proactive. They're just more willing to participate in the class. They're more willing to actually like do things.
And
Um,
he also makes note that he's like, oh yeah, also like and Kaori made note of this too, where he was also agreeing with her in a way where he was like, yeah, the classes are so easy to understand
yeah.
too. Like everything is like the way everything is explained is like, oh, it's so easy to follow along and like I have no trouble.
Yeah, so and then of course lunch starts, and he's kind of sitting by at his desk, and everyone's kind of circling around him and just bombarding him with questions.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
of course, this is where we see the super athletic. Is it Ryu?
Ryu?
Ryu. He shows up, and he's kind of like, "Okay, guys, shoo. Leave him be." He's like, "You probably hasn't even eaten lunch yet. Like, you're overwhelming him. Let's go." So he takes him down to the cafeteria, and he kind of shows him, everything around. And this is where we see Shingo, and he calls him over, and they start talking about anime. And again, he's a little bit like still taken aback by this, because he's kind of like, wait, you guys like anime? Like, you're the tall, athletic, handsome guy. Like, you like anime? And he's kind of like, again, like, wait, what's going on here? Uh, yeah, and then again, they just start playing a handheld game, and again, it's just like this fun little cute thing with like everyone together, right? And again, it's showcasing like a more happier, pleasant kind of experience for him this time around.
And then at the end of the day, him and Kaori kind of go out together on like
Yeah,
this street that is like very popular amongst the students there. And she never really goes out with anyone, right? So they
yep.
had kind of have like this cute little date though together. Um,
And I like how everyone's making note, like, oh my god, look how cute those two are.
yeah, they're like, wait, is it like, is it legal for someone that pretty and that handsome to be going out and stuff like that? Yeah. It's like, oh, look how they're like the perfect couple. And they like each, they buy crepe, I believe.
Yeah,
And
they've
they
had
like each
grapes.
have like the other ones like take a bite of each other's crepe. And
Yeah,
again, it was one of those things where they didn't make it weird.
no,
It was just like, because they never hung out before, it was kind of like a shock, spur of the moment thing. Like, oh, okay, well, this is really weird. Like, it's happening like already or whatever sort of
yeah.
thing. But it wasn't anything like, oh, why is she doing this? Oh, I can't like. They didn't make the weird. Oh,
Indirect kiss.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
they didn't over exaggerate the into the kisses.
yeah.
So and then at the end of this episode, he just goes into the other world and he rescues a girl, and that's kind of how the episode end before episode 3 starts.
Yeah, yeah. That's generally it. He's still practicing in the yard, and he's like, you
Mm.
know what? I'm not gonna get stronger. He's like, he's noticing his progression, his level progression is lower. So that's when he's like, okay, maybe I'm actually gonna go tiptoe outside of the fence. And then he actually starts stepping out, and then that's when he hears a scream, and he runs off, and he sees some of the guards on the ground, and then he sees an elite ogre who's trying to ki- hurt the girl, kill the girl. I don't know, trying to attack her.
Yeah.
And then that's when he, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, he approaches, he helps out, and he ends up checking on her, like as she's passing out. He's like approaching, kind of making sure she's okay.
So episode 3 starts, and This might have been my favorite episode of the entire anime, actually. Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
straight out and say, like, I really liked this episode here.
yeah.
This episode was really good. So it is found out that the girl he saved is named Daxia, and we don't know much of anything about her other than she has like gods with her.
Yeah.
So then he leaves the that world for right now. We learn more about her later. So I wrote in my note, I'm like, he has hot anime guy aura.
Yeah.
Where like anywhere he goes, anyone he talks to, they're like, oh my god, he's like so, oh my god, he's so hot. Like,
Yeah. Everyone just stares
wow,
at
like
him.
all the girls,
Yeah.
even all the guys, like all the guys are doing the same
Yeah.
thing, right? They're all just talking about him. So he's like, well, I don't want to. He's like, I know my clothes can't get dirty because like it
It's
is
magical.
like a magic thing.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I want to get different clothes because I want to get different clothes where, um, like so it doesn't look like I'm just wearing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So he goes shopping and it is also shown at the same time he is entering and like walking around and shopping that there is a TV commercial or TV photo shoot that is happening here
Yeah.
on this day, and the main actor guy is a little bit late.
A lot
So
late.
of course he's a lot late, right? So they're like, the director guy, he's like, I don't care. We're so late. We have to just find someone here at the mall. And I'm like, oh well, okay, well,
You know what's
of
happening.
course they're going to run into Yuya, and so they pass each other on escalator, and then the
Yeah.
director's like, oh, I think I just found our guy. They hurry up and they get Yuya,
Yeah.
and Yuya's like, oh, I've never really done anything like this before, so I thought the photo shoot was like really great, where he's like obviously nervous and he was kind of like taken aback by Miyu, the lead photo shoot girl,
Yeah.
and he kind of sits down and just kind of actually has like a normal conversation with her. Again, it's like no weird thing like, is it like, can this girl actually be talking to me? Like, oh my god, like, oh my god, I don't know. Wow, she's so pretty. I can't
Yeah.
believe I'm so close to her. Like, it was, they had none of that throughout this entire anime, and it was like a breath of fresh air. My good, they just kind of threw away all the like terrible cliches that are in like typical animes like this.
Yeah.
So I was like really like, oh, this is so good. Like, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like their conversation because while they're having a break, because he points out that like you've given me an appreciation for your industry because you're actually showing me
Mm,
how difficult this job is and actually how hard
mm,
it is to be a model. Like it's not just you stand there looking pretty and then that's it. Like there's a lot more that goes into it to actually like make it actually good and make it professional. And he definitely appraises her, and then they kind of go back and forth where she kind of like explains why she got into modeling to begin with, why she actually wanted to be a model. So she said she's not exactly sure why, but she thinks that it has something to do with her parents. That because they were so busy growing up, she wanted to actually be seen by them and kind of
mm.
get their attention. And then she makes note that even though she's not impressive, she really is. She's one of my favorite character designs in the whole anime.
Oh, me too. I was like, yeah, I know we're gonna talk about who best girl is at the end of the show, and I immediately took a liking to her,
Yeah,
and we don't see her a whole lot,
only a few
but
times, but yeah,
yeah, she was like, I was like immediately like, oh my god, this girl is great.
yeah,
Like I love her. Again, she's also like, again, she isn't like the, oh, why are you talking to me? You're just like some peasant that we just had to
yeah,
hurry up and get for a photo shoot. She's like really down to earth and like open to having a conversation
yeah.
with Yuya. So again, I thought that was fantastic. So
No, and that's it. So like again, she just talks like they're just having this really cute talk together, and then of course the original model, is it Shu? He shows up late
mm,
and he immediately approaches Mew and he tells her he's like, "Hey, let's hurry up and get this over with so we can go out for food." And then she's kind of like stands up and starts like backing up, and she's like almost got herself like against a wall, and he starts pinning her to the wall, and he starts asking her like, "Oh, do you like fortified wines? Do you like all these different wines?" And she's like, "Look, I'm not old enough to drink yet." And
mm-hmm.
so while this is happening, Yuya is kind of like You know,
And he's
so I
she
know.
was like, well, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Like, you're in this industry, no one's gonna care,
Well, that's just
right?
it.
Sort of
He's
thing.
got her locked down. He's like pinning, and then the whole time Yuya's trying to get his attention, and he keeps going like more, louder and louder, like really trying to get his attention. And he kind of turns to you like, "What? What do you want?" And he's like, I don't think she likes that." And again, it's similar to the first, the first incident with Kaori. And then this is where
Mhm.
Shu goes and like winds up and he goes to like swing at him. And I don't know how much leverage, like I don't even understand why they did it, but he ends up like he ends up slipping on a handkerchief slightly while throwing the punch. Um Yuya notices, he's like, oh, he's actually slower than the monsters in the in the other world.
Mhm.
And he like grabs him, flips him in the air, and like slams him on the ground. And at first he's kind of like stunned, looking around, like, "Wait, wait, did I just do that? I slammed him like
Yeah, and
harder than I wanted."
yeah, and then he's like, "Oh great, this is like really like now I'm in trouble."
Yeah, everyone's gonna
And of
yell at me
course,
for
because
beating
there's
up
a
a hot
photo.
guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then, because they're doing a photo shoot, everyone in the mall is like kind of having their eyes on like this
Yeah,
area, like from all the
they're
different
all watching.
levels of the mall. They're all like watching and stuff like that. And then they should also start cheating, right, for Yuya. And then like you hear like some of the girls like, "Oh wow, he's actually cuter than Shu" and stuff like that. So yeah, everyone was just like so shocked and
Yeah.
like, and then Shu gets up like, and he's like all embarrassed, like, "What the heck?" He's like, "Oh, I'm out of here. Like, I'm just gonna like, I don't care. I'm just gonna
Well, like
leave."
the photographer show was kind of like, you can't spin this. He's like, we got it recorded. Like we recorded the whole thing, so you
Mm-hmm.
can't spin this in a negative way. And then he goes and he
Mm-hmm.
approaches Mew and he says like, I'm sorry, like I didn't notice he was harassing you and following you around. Like I didn't, I'm sorry. We'll report him to the director and they'll make sure he never works again, kind of thing. Um, and of course, coming full circle, he basically tells Yuya, I would like to sign you to a contract at the agency, and Yuya's like, no, I don't. There's other stuff I want to do. I don't want to be a model. And
Again, this is like another crazy thing where I'm just like, wow, okay, wow, like this is
yeah,
like so like again, it's the humble thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like it's like he knows like he would not look this good and have these abilities. Again, he's being humble because like of the world he's training in, right? And he's
yeah,
like gaining ability, like he's gaining like his reflexes, his strength, how he looks. All of this can be like attributed as thanks to like the isekai world that
yeah.
he goes to at night, right? So it's like again, it's like the humble thing, like no, there is things I want to do before like maybe I even get into that sort like,
Yeah.
and he didn't say like right out no, like he would never, right, but he's like he wants to like go through high school a
He wants
little
to have a
bit and
normal
like
life because it's something he's never really fully
exactly.
experienced yet, right? He's just now getting
Yeah.
friends. He's just now getting into that scene. Now, again, full circle, the photographer says, like, while I'd like to pay you, he goes, since you're an amateur, though, and you're not signed to us, it would be a bad look for the company. So instead, I'm going to give you a bunch of clothes that I personally picked out for you. He's like,
I
and since I know your size, I know they'll all fit. Um, and of course, he tries to decline, but he says, "Nope, nope. There has to
We
be
have
some
to like
form.
compensate.
There has to be some form
Mm-hmm.
of payment." So he's like, "Just take it."
And
So
then you use like, okay, well I accept because it is payment for a job I did, so
exactly, and
I'm
it's
going
a
to
good deal for
accept
him
it.
because it solves his need. He wanted more clothes,
Hi.
anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I I like on the way on the drive home when you sit in the car and she's like talking about him. She's like, "Oh, I'd like to work with him again." I love how the photographer keeps teasing her and telling her she's got apples on her cheeks because she's blushing so red.
Hi.
So it ends with Yuya going into the dark forest to kind of train a bit more. So earlier in the episode, we see Lexia basically get up and starts like stomping out of the castle, with Owen protesting, like, "Where are you going?" She's like, "I'm gonna go find him, obviously." And then he end up seeing a scene where he goes out the train. Owen and her guards are battling a bunch of goblins, orcs. Um, and you see Lexia about to be attacked, and then this is where Yuya shows up and ends up starting to kill a bunch of them before, helping the guards with his cure all portion. And then we get hit with the best ending of the ending line. She immediately walks up to him and without saying anything, so she's supposed to be here to show her thanks and her gratitude. And she immediately walks up to him and says, "Please marry me."
And I was just like, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're just so shocked. And then, so early in episode 4, we
Yep.
learn that Lexia is the princess,
Yeah.
right, of Arcelia? Arcelia?
Yeah, Arcelia.
Arcelia. So I was just, and he wants to be taken, and she's like, okay, well, I want to take you to, like, the royal palace, and he was just thinking, like, oh, but they have, like, Golden Riku in, like, the real world, so he asks, could we, like, put it off for a little bit, and they are very, like, they oblige, because they're like, oh, well,
we're the ones making
whenever
the
you are
demand.
ready.
We're the ones making the
whenever-
unreasonable demands, so we, just come whenever, whenever you feel it's convenient.
And then right before he continued, like right before they go into the school part, it is like we see like this evil organization that is after Lexia. They're trying to assassinate her.
Yeah.
We don't really know much about them other than that they want her to die.
Yeah, it's a masked man who's asking, like, why is she still alive? Like, what your job was to separate her from her guards so that she would be attacked by, the monsters in the woods. So what happened? And the guy basically says, like, I'm not sure. He's hooded, and he's like, I'm not really sure. We're still investigating that part. Now, I will say that one thing he does state is at the end is before he leaves, he says, he calls them Your Highness. So it kind of like foreshadows a little bit of a hint that there might be some kind of like nobility or some kind of connection to the family, but you don't
catch that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, he ends up
like
saying
small. Sometimes small lines like that like go unnoticed sometimes.
Yeah, he says,
especially when I'm trying to like take note and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
So he kind of whispers. He's kind of like says like, "Yes, Your Highness," and then he kind of like takes off, kind of thing, right before he leaves, because he basically says like, I'm not going to give you another chance to fail. Like you're not going to get another opportunity if you fail again. And then that's when he says like, "Yes, Your Highness," and he ends up leaving. So, of course, now.
Okay, this was one of those episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of these, some things that happen to become a little bit more ridiculous as like the anime goes on, and this was definitely one of the first episodes where I'm just like, oh.
And
okay.
generally
like, this
speaking,
is kind of had a little bit of a problem with.
And generally speaking, it was a really good episode outside of this stuff. Like generally speaking,
no, it was. I had a problem with this next few parts. But anyway, I'll let you go and talk about that.
Yeah, so he ends up starting his first official day at the academy. So it shows the boys are playing soccer and the girls are standing around cheering and watching, waiting on their cheering. So
later they cheer even harder.
So immediately we see Ryu, who's showing his athletic ability. They do talk about it quite often. And he's just moving past everyone and scoring like he's McJesus on hockey. So Yuya is sitting on the steps. And he's kind of watching everyone. And he's approached by Kane.
That caught me off guard. Oh gosh.
So he's approached by the other redhead that I adore in this, Kane.
I like Kane too.
Yes, I love her. And she kind of asks him like, "Or you're not gonna play?" And he's like, "No, I don't have my gym clothes yet." So then we see Ryu is being teamed up by everyone on the opposite team who's like, "No, you're not getting by this time." He's like, "Oh yeah, I got a secret trick," and he just passes the ball. And then we end up seeing Akira kind of speed by, and
I do not like Akira.
let
I'm
me
sorry.
show let me show you my secret kick. And he kicks the ball and he
They
completely misses so badly. And
So, as much as I was talking about how they don't have a lot of cliches, they just wrote all the cliches into this one singular character.
yeah,
I just don't
yeah,
want- They're like, we can't have a perfect anime. We have to have one character that. So instead of like spreading out the cliches, they just like, okay, Akira, you just get all of like the debuffs.
oh, I know. So
But they do it in such a good way too,
I
where
like
it's
it.
just like no one like hates him, right? It's like
No,
he's still like popular and has friends. And okay, as I was watching through this anime real quick,
yeah,
I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm like, okay, when is the bad stuff actually going to happen? I was waiting for it the whole time and it never happened. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised about that. Like, I actually liked that where it was just actually like a really good feel good anime for the most part.
yeah.
There's a few parts that like get ridiculous, like we were talking about, but for the most part, I was really like, I was like, it was actually really, really like solid like anime,
Hmm.
and I'm actually glad that you were like, because usually when you talk highly about an anime, I get excited because I'm like, oh well, I trust your judgment, right? So I'm like, I know this is gonna be pretty
We're
good.
almost always pretty similar.
Yeah, if you if you guys listen to the whole episode, right? You guys will notice there's so many times where like we give a score of the anime at the end. We are always like really, really, really close.
Yeah.
Like we are literally like point like 1 or 2 points away from each
Oh,
other
I'll
almost
say like
every time.
I'll say 8.2, and then you'll end up like eight point
Mhm.
three, or 8.2.
Yeah, it's always like
Yeah.
right there. So, but anyway, yeah. So, kind like he stops. So Akira like kicks the ball and it goes over to.
Misses
It
wildly.
messes terribly so bad. Like I don't even know how you kick it this bad, and it's not going straight for Kaede. And so Yuya like jumps up, not only stops the ball, he kicks it all the way into the goal, and people like, which is very far away at this point, and like everyone, it was at such high speed that everyone was like, I couldn't even track his movement, and then the goalie just stood there in shock, and he scored a goal,
Yeah.
and everyone's just like, what the heck, like what? What the heck just happened? Like, there's no way. And then, like, everyone's just like freaking out. So this is one of those times where he's like, "Oh wow, I'm getting like way stronger for. I'm way too
Yeah.
strong for this world," kind of thing. Like all the strength that I'm getting in this other world is really like I have to be like more careful. Like I have to kind of watch out. Like it's
Yeah.
like not good, right?
And then, of
So.
course, like you say,
Mm.
this is where we see Akira, who's we really start to see his personality because he rushes over, it's literally sliding on the ground towards her, and in this like bow, I beg your forgiveness, maiden, and he's like the young prince of Ose Academy, and people are like, nope, nobody calls you that. The Red Rocky starts like naming all these stupid nicknames for himself, and people are like, no, you've never heard of this? No. Wait, what? No, this one? And he just keeps going. It was just so hilarious. So the
It's
next
like yeah,
scene,
I like it's like when I talk to Maple, I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I know what people say. Everyone's like, oh, we just wish it was the Blossom podcast, though.
yeah,
Everyone just
get rid of
loves
that
me.
loser. So we end up seeing the girls chatting now, and they're inside their locker room, and they're chatting about the whole scenario with what just happened on the field with Yuya. And Kaori ends up going in, and she's like, "Oh, did you do something cool?" And they kind of explain it as to what had happened. She's like,
Yeah, of
"Oh,
course you wanted to talk about the girls changing.
hey, hey, this was fantastic. This was peak." So
This is why I got scored so
this
high.
this is why I had it so high. But I like how
Mm.
in sync. This is why I noted. It's because I like how in sync Kaori and Kade were when everyone was saying like, because they're praising him and they're talking about like, "Yo, oh, he's so good looking and he's so nice and everything's so good. Like, I wonder what his girlfriend's like. And immediately the two of them turns around like, well, we don't know he has a girlfriend yet. They're both like in sync at the same moment,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, maybe he doesn't, but you sure think he might. So at this point, the girls are now out. The girls are now out doing their gym stuff. So Calories down
Mm.
there, and she's doing, whatever they're doing, and then she kind of like waves up at Yuya because he's now in class. So as he like waves, this is where you see like this biker gang break through their doors, like
This is the part where I was just. This is one of those parts where I was just like, what is going on? What is going on? Why is there a bad gang just infiltrating the scooter?
yeah. So she's telling them to leave, and then we end up seeing that it's all mastermind by his brother and sister, who's now trying to, get back at them for the way that they embarrass them. So they basically say like, look, the cops. Cowrie basically says, look, the cops are gonna be here soon, and the guys are like, yeah, well, we better get out of here because it'll be a pain if the cops are here. And then this where the siblings are like, well, just grab the girl. It's we have time to get her, and that'll at least be a bit of fun for us, right? So they attempt to
Mm.
kidnap Cowrie before the cops show up. So then you see Yuya stand up, and he starts freezing. He has like a momentary freezing where he's panicking because, as he says, he's like, even though I fought stronger monsters, these were his bullies. These were the people who were extremely bullying him. So he has that moment where he's like, he's shaking. He's generally scared, um, because of the fact of it's his bully. So as he's standing there, Kade walks up and just slaps the crap out of him, just like bashes him up the side of the head, and he kind of like snaps him out of it. He's like, "Oh, all right, thanks." And then he like gets up and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now." And everyone's watching him as he just walks over to the window, and he just slides open the window. People are like, "Wait, what the hell is he doing?" And then he just jumps. He just jumps out the window.
They're
So
like, yeah, this is the fourth floor.
and everyone's like watching him as he like just drops down and he lands in like this Spider-Man pose where he's like, hands on the ground, he's like squatting and he like and he gets up and he just starts running. And he's like dodging everybody and he's like rushing towards her. And then you end up seeing this like giant guy who's like this massive man who's like, oh yeah, speed may get you far, but not against speed. He's like, we're gonna use strength. He poses like it's like this sumo thing. He like charges at Yuya, and Yuya just like puts his hand out, just one hand is holding the guy's head. He's like, what can I move? What can I move? He just kind of like tosses him to the side.
And then like this other guy gets on a bike and
Yeah,
it's like charging after him. I literally put here in my notes, I'm like, he just bodies everyone. He's just like,
yeah.
no, you're gone, you're easy.
He's
get
just
out of
sliding
here."
around like beating everybody up, and then the guy on the bike shows up and he's like, "Oh, you're not gonna make fun of us." And he like starts like spinning around, like doing like these like wheelies, trying to hit him with his tires, and he's like doing all this crazy stuff, and like Yuya's dodging him and like jumping up in the air and everything, and he's watching Yuya do this like 20-foot flip in the air, and he ends up
Aw.
crashing into the school steps. So at this point, this is where we see the police show up, and they're kind of like arresting everybody. And you see his brother and sister talking crap about the gang, like, "Oh, you guys were useless. Like, you didn't even help us. Like, it was so like it was a waste of time." And then you see the leader just like grab him from behind and like lift him up in the air, choking him.
Oh
Uh,
my god, I'm sorry, I was like,
get him,
get
get
him,
him.
get him. But Yuya, of course, like he actually saves his brother.
Yeah, and they ask him why, and he says like, while I haven't forgiven you for all you've done to me, you're still family, and I still think you
Yeah.
should help family. So he ends up
And I
helping
think
them.
this is kind of where I don't think they actually ever bother him again for the whole anime.
No,
actually,
you don't see them again.
Yeah, so
So they
this
apologize.
is kind of like
and-
where, yeah,
and then that's it.
exactly. They're like, okay, we're sorry, we'll just let you live your life.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yeah. Well, I mean, they also are like, we brought a whole gang and we still couldn't stop them. So, like, what are they going to really come back with, right? They like, okay, we're kind of done here.
Yeah.
So, hmm.
So it starts off with episode 5 where you is having kind of like a flashback where Owen is explaining the dark region and how dangerous this forest is that he's in. And he explains like the
They are
monster.
so shocked. Like, what? It's incredible that someone is even living out here. It's
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
So
Mm.
so they explain like if these monsters formed a pack, they could wipe out a large city. And then at this moment, as he's like standing there, because he's like again he's having this flashback, he starts thinking in his head like, who were you, Sage? Like who were you that you could actually like live here like so easily,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Mm.
So he's off training and he's like walking back home and he's like, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm gonna go home. And he hears the sound of like a dog whimper or a dog whining. So he starts going over and approaching. He's got himself. He has a skill where he hides himself and he becomes invisible.
Yeah, he can like cloak himself. So, like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So he's like hiding and he sees this I don't know a hog monster who
It
is
is it's the Orc King.
yeah he's attacking a small black dog is what we see. And then Yuya sees the stats and is like, no, that's way too powerful. He's like, even though I'd want to help the dog, he's like, that's way too powerful. And then as he's starting to like walk away, he hears, the dog crying more, and he thinks back to his grandfather, and he says, you know what, like my grandfather wouldn't look the other way, like
Yeah.
he would go help. And then this is where he kind of turns, he's like, you know what, and I want to help too. He goes, why? Because I want to. And he grabs his
Mm.
spear. And I love this scene. I love this moment because he grabs his spear and he is deathly afraid now. So he's like, okay, this thing is so much powerful than me. Like he's so strong. He's like hyping himself up. So he runs in, he like closes his eyes and throws the spear. And he's got his sword in his hand. And he's doing like the classic run in where he's like yelling and he's like trying to hype himself up. He's like, ah, as he gets as he like goes in, and then he like immediately freezes. He's like, "Okay, come on, come at me!" And then you just see this giant hole in the in the orchid, and he just disappears. He's like, "Wait, all that anticipation, all that build up for nothing." He's like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed." And then of course he turns his attention to the dog, and the dog is basically like a little bit like weary of him at first, and then he ends up collapsing, and then this is where Yuya saves him with the cure all potion. And they have this like almost like this like conversation where he's talking to the dog. He's like, are you out here alone? He's kind of like nodding and making sounds. He's like, where are your parents? And he's just they have this little like kind of like this conversation. And he asks him, he's like, would you like to come live with me? And then he ends up being able to tame him. And he looks at the stats, and the stats are like 500. He's already at like level 500. And then he ends up naming him Knight. Well, Naito is what he officially calls him.
Well, there's a lot of reason for that.
Yeah.
And
I,
so Naito, he has Naito, and now he's looking for pet shopper.
yeah.
And Kaede at Scooter says, "Oh, I'll take you to like one," and like, "Oh, why?" And he's like saying how like he got a new dog and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot there. But he does go take Naito for a walk.
Yeah.
And he runs into Kaori, right? And so she's like, "Oh, that is a cute dog. What breed is he?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know."
Yeah.
Like I just found that he is stray dog kind
Yeah.
sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then they just kind of have a like really cute conversation. There's really not a lot that happens here. He helps stop a criminal.
Well, Mew shows up.
Naito.
So Mew shows up too
Mew
on
shows
the
up
walk,
too.
and so Kaori is now thinking back to the locker room talk with Yuya and his girlfriend, and he sees Yuya being very familiar with Mew. So she kind of gets in her head like, oh, is that maybe his girlfriend? And then
And it's funny because Miyu is also thinking the
same
other
thing.
thing too, like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that must be his girlfriend.
Yeah,
So
they're
they
both
each
do the
thought
same
that
thing.
they
And like you say, like
exactly.
a mugger shows up, he mugs an old lady. Knight goes and grabs him and drags him over, and then Yuya's checking on the old lady, and he says to Kaori like, oh, call the police. And of course, the robber hears police and he gets spooked and immediately grabs his knife and starts charging at Kaori. And then, of course, Yuya completely takes him down like nothing. And then
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
and then that's pretty much it for the end of that one. Um, and then the next kind of scene you see where he's now walking back into the woods, him and Knight, and they're training still.
I really like this enemy that they fight here. The crystal deer is like,
It's
I was like,
so
oh
good.
wow, this enemy like looks so cool, and it
Yeah,
was able to use like fire
fire and
and
ice.
water from its
Was it water or
yeah,
was
and
it
ice
ice?
too.
Yeah,
I think it might have been both. I think they could like water
yeah,
ice sort of thing. Yeah, from the answers.
yeah,
I thought this battle was really neat. Um, and I really like the item that he gets after he
yeah,
beats it. He gets like a hot spring item, like a big bath
yeah.
item, which is like hilarious. And
See,
then right at the end of the episode, he goes into a cave
yeah.
and he finds the Book of the Sage, right? So, mm, did you have anything else for that episode?
No,
Mm,
no. Generally, yeah.
okay.
Like they're battling. They're in another battle, and they end up knocking a wall down in the process, and that's where they see the cave, and they go in and they find the a corpse with the book beside it, and says the Book of Sage. And then again, that's where it begins.
So, yeah, in episode 6, the book like is almost like a warning
Yeah,
where it's like your strength can scare people. Like you have to be careful with
yeah.
who you like show it to because you can end up being alone because of it and stuff like that. So, Yuya makes like a wish in the book, right? Because the book is like, I will teach you something that you really
Well,
want to know,
he's
right?
having an actual conversation with the
A
sage.
conversation with it.
Yeah, so the
Mm.
sage is actually speaking through the book, and they're having like a conversation about friendship and those kind of things. And at the end, he says, "I'll grant you a wish, like anything you want to know, I'll grant it for you." And he says, "Magic, maybe." And he goes, "Okay, here, I'll leave everything I know about the theory of magic in the book, and you can kind of learn it, right?" And but then at the end he says, "But in this world, you need to have the magical pathways in order to be able to use magic, and since you're not from this world, you can't. So I'll give you mine, which are very valuable, and I don't want them to rot away because I'm dead. So
Yeah, they're very valuable, all right. Like you learn this later.
so he's like, since they're very valuable, and I don't want them to kind of like nobody ever to use them again. I'll just take them." So he gives it to him and Knight, and then they end up going back to his house, and you see him beginning to practice. So he's reading through the theory of it, and he talks about, sense the actual magical feeling within you, like sense the pathways throughout your body. And then he basically says, like, magic is really just imagination. So just think about it. Think about what you want to do. Think about, uh, everything like this, and then it'll just happen, right? Like sense it in your hand, and it'll just happen, right? And he goes, but if you name it, it's quicker to recall the spell next time, kind of thing. So
Again, I'm so like happy that like he doesn't have to just yell his attacks.
I know.
Again, they got rid of like a stupid cliche that's in all of these kind of animes. I'm just like, wow, like there's just so many good things about this. It's like fantastic.
Well,
I love it so
and that's just
much.
it. Like that's the one thing I hate, where it's like super secret water ball attack, like. Oh, you jump on the left, get them on the left side, I'll get them on the right side, and they're like yelling, and the person's like right in front of them. Super water
Yeah.
kick, and it's like, okay, what are we doing? Like, so at this point, you see him practicing a bit. He's doing the water ball, and he starts firing it off at a tree, and you end up seeing him like burning through and destroying several of the trees.
Oh,
Okay.
oops.
So then next we see he's back at school, and Sawada is explaining that next week they're going on an off-campus study and helps them kind of be prepared for survival stuff.
So before that,
Oh, the
they
king,
showed the king,
yeah,
and he learned that Nexia confessed to Yuya, and he's just like. He just completely loses his mind, starts destroying stuff in the room.
he's in
It's
his
like not really
throne
much
room.
to like.
He
Yeah,
grabs a sword, he
it's
starts like
not.
swinging wildly and like smashing everything as he's like. So yeah, so they mentioned that they're going on an off study campus, and it's going to be camping. Is how they explain it. So they're going to be camping for one night and 2 days. So they end up announcing the group trips, and Yuya is paired with Kade, of course, Rin and Akira, which is hilarious. So Yuya is telling them, he's like, I don't really have like a rucksack. Like I don't really have like a bag for camping. Like I guess he's kind of like, oh, maybe my grandfather has like a wheel suitcase or something that I could use. And then they suggest, well, why don't we just go shopping for one, together at the mall, kind of thing. Um, and they end up going out as a big group. So Yuya's there with Kade, Kaori, Rin, Ryu, and Shingo, and they all go out to start looking for his stuff. Kaori ends up picking the bag right away. What do you think about this one? He's like, oh, it's perfect. All right, great. Let's sit there. That's it. Shopping trip done.
Then they go, and then they do like the classic,
Yeah.
like they eat, they go to arcade or just stuff like that. And it's funny because he uses his detect skill to just start winning prizes for everyone at the crane game, where he's like, oh, I know the weak points. Of the prizes, I'm just like, what the heck are we talking
Well,
about?
that's just it.
It was a little bit ridiculous.
So the guys say, hey, we're gonna go to a cafe, and the girls are like, okay, well, we want to go shopping for girl stuff, so like, just go to the cafe and we'll meet you there, kind of thing. I love they're sitting there drinking coffee, and so Rio convinces Rio convinces Yuya to drink coffee with him.
Rin, Rin,
No, Ryu, the guy.
is it Rin? I think it's Rin.
No, it's
I
Ryu.
have Rin in my notes.
No, it's Ryu. Rin is the
Whoops.
girl.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so Ryu is sitting there and he's like, so Yuya takes a sip. He's like, oh, it's bitter. He's like, oh god, it's bitter. And Ryu's like, oh, you guys don't have refined tastes. You gotta really savor the coffee. He takes a so he drinks a drink, he spits it, he's like, oh, it's bitter. And then you see him like, where's the sugar? You see him like grabbing sugar. You see him like pouring it into the cup. And then the next scene you see, the cup is just full of sugar, just overflowing with sugar. Sugar cubes. It was so ridiculous. So they end up hearing the fire alarm goes off. Um, and there was like a fire that broke out in the arcade. So they end up going to like the staircase and everyone's trying to evacuate them. And Yuya ends up asking, like, did some girls come by here? Like, did you see girls come by on these steps? And then that's when Ryu gets a call, and it's from the girls basically saying they're trapped before they kind of like pass out, kind of thing. And then Yuya like just jumps in right past the guy who's supposed to be guarding the steps, so nobody can get by him. He just easily dodges him, and he starts rushing up the steps. So he gets to where he knows where the girls are, and there's like a bunch of fire in the area. So he ends up using his magic to cover himself in water, and he rushes in. And he starts roaming around trying to find them, and then he ends up finding where the girls are, and they're all passed out. And he ends up grabbing all three of them, and he starts like hoisting them up, and he starts carrying them. And he's got them covered in water too, and he's running around. He ends up getting trapped, and he's kind of like sitting there. Was like, well, I don't really have any other way, to kind of get by this. So he ends up basically acting like his body like a drill, and just starts powering through the floor. He's going like floor by floor, and he ends up getting to the bottom, and he ends up slamming down through the bottom. And people are like, wait, there's people at the ground floor, and they see him. And of course, everyone starts praising him again, except for the fire department. They were very mad at him. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's just one of
generally
those again. There's like just
yeah.
utterly ridiculous moment.
Yeah. Again, I'm not really like upset with these kind of moments when it's like he's using it to save people. Like I'm generally okay with some of that stuff, but like when it's like some of like the really like when he's there, it's just him, and nobody else can really see the powers and stuff. Then it's kind of like okay, that's a little bit more tolerable than let me just jump out a 4-story window and land on my feet in the courtyard.
So episode 7 starts with we learned that he learned an imagination skill where if he can like he can teleport like a door, and if he has been to a place he can just
Yeah,
think about that place
yeah.
and he can enter the door and be in that place, which is kind of neat, I guess. I've never kind of seen anything like that before in like a isekai anime.
Yeah.
So it is neat. He saves a girl, Luna, from orcs, right? And so Luna and him train to. Well, first he lets Luna soak in his bath, and
Yes.
she's just kind of again just he's just always saving girls just all the time. So he and Luna train together, and they also bathe together at the end.
Yeah.
Here, I don't have really a lot here to say about Luna
That's
other
not
than
that's
like
not
she
really
uses
that's not
strings
really a
to
lot.
attack. There's not really a whole lot.
No,
I
she starts attacking, like they start training together, and he kind of like asks her like, "What are you doing out here in the woods, like by yourself, kind of thing?" And
mm-hmm,
she just says, "Well," she's being vague with it, and she's kind of like, "Well, somebody asked me to come out here to do a job, so you know, I'm kind of left here by myself." And then that's where she's kind of like, "Would you like to train with me?" And he initially is like, "I really don't want to, but." If I don't train with her, she'll probably just train by herself, and I'd worry too much about
mm-hmm.
her safety. So, and then like you said, they end up basically like in the bath together. It's like there's not really a whole lot on this part, um, and he basically explains to her like this is the last day because starting tomorrow I got stuff to kind of do. I can't be around right now. And then of course that's when we see, you know, the actual trip starts. So their off campus trip starts and they're sitting on the bus playing cards while he's yawning.
Yeah, he's tired because he was
Yeah.
like obviously training all night, and they're like, oh, you seem tired, and he's like, yeah, I like was up late and stuff like that.
Yeah. So they end up
Yeah,
going
we
to the
learned that the
large building.
school event is like, yeah, we talked about the little, it's like a
Yeah.
little survival thing. So,
Yeah, he ends up going to a large building and this is where Sawada basically explains like how the trip's actually gonna work. So she basically says like there's plenty of mushrooms, there's plenty of plants around in the mountains. There's fish in the river. She's like, you know, we do have a bit of rice for you guys, but it's not going to be enough to fill you up. So you actually have to go and you know catch fish and actually go and look at you know the mushrooms and plants. Now she says that to make sure that they're actually edible and you don't poison yourself, she's like, don't taste them. Come take them to us, and we'll actually investigate them for you and let you know if they're actually good.
yeah, and then she's like, oh, don't worry if you actually get poisoned. We have our doctor. And like, the doctor is like,
Creepy.
this creepy girl who's just holding like this vial of pink,
So
pink,
yes,
like
I have
liquid.
this
Like,
medicine. Oh,
I have
do you
this
want to
medicine.
try
This
it?
medicine. And then the episode end with it being revealed that Luna is the assassin,
Yeah,
who was trying to kill Nexia, and
yeah.
well, it was fun. I have to kill you, Yuya, sort of thing.
Well, she says I have to stop talking to you. I have to give you up because I'm now I'm the dark villainous. Like I'm the dark assassin. I have to do this. So
Mhm.
before this though, so you see they're going out and fishing. So they decide to like split up their task. So Yuya and Kade go fishing, and then Akira and Rin go split and go do the mushrooms and that kind of stuff. Now, I love the explanation that Sawada, their teacher, gives. she basically explains that they're going to be graded and there's going to be points. Like it's like a competition, and they're like, "Oh, really? What do we win?" She goes, "Hey, wouldn't you believe it? I get a big bonus. So please." She's like, "Fight with all your might." Like she's like, it's so hilarious. So you end up seeing Yuya going fishing, and he gets to the fishing spot, and most of the good fishing spots are taken. So he used his perception skill to find a spot, and he's like, "Oh, there's a good spot upriver." So they end up going up there, and there was a really good spot. But Kane says, "Well, yeah, but it's too shallow. Like you can't use a fishing rod here." He goes, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get that figured out." He decides to go into the water and starts catching them with his bare hands. He's just like dodging and like
Just
swiping all these fish from his hand.
it gets like a whole bucket to a fish, right?
Yeah, so
It's just
he's
hilarious.
just like plopping them out, and she's just sitting there like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing."
And then she's like, you could stop. We're not gonna eat all of that.
Yeah,
Like he has so many of them.
he's got a
So
whole bucket full. So episode 8 starts with them going back to camp, and Rin and Akira are already back there. They got the tents all set up. So they start like sharing, like, look at all the food we've gathered, kind of thing. So he goes and Akira's talking about his plight because, oh, she used me to like as bait for bears. She used me to test mushrooms for poisons. She she made me climb out the side of a mountain to get plants. He's like he's sharing his struggles, and then Yuya goes and like checks on him, like use his skill to make sure he doesn't have any like abnormalities, not poison and stuff. And he uses the same thing to kind of like actually look at their what they've gathered, and he ends up swiping the one that's kind of poisonous. So they end up going to see Sawada and show their stuff. And again, she kind of like, okay, this is all so good. She's like, you guys are actually the first group to bring back so much, and it was actually all 100% accurate.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like shocked. Like, wait, what?
And then I
Like,
laugh.
how is this possible?
I laugh because she then goes, okay, but you're also graded on your cooking. So which one of you guys is going to be the cook? And Yuya's pointing at himself, like, which one of you can cook? And Yuya points at himself. All the other three are immediately pointing at him. So then,
Like, he's like, well, okay.
and then Sawada, like, immediately latches onto him. Was like, Yuya, please do it for me. My bonus depends on it.
So he cooks this like fantastic meal. Like
Yeah.
he guts and like skins the fish and all this stuff, and like it's like so perfect, and everyone tries it. And this is like hilarious because the teacher gets drunk. It's like, Yuya, you're so handsome and you can cook. You should marry me. I'm just like,
Yeah. She saw that tries this food. She's like, oh my god, this is so good. And he's like, okay. She's like, no, you don't understand. She's like, we actually eat with like the top chefs in the country are the ones who's cooking our food. So she's like, so for us to actually seem like this tastes good, it means you're actually a really good cook.
yeah.
And of course, like, yeah, like you said, she offers to marry him, and he says no. So we end up seeing the next day that their kind of camp area is torn up, and everything's all like scattered all over the place. And they're like, okay, well, we got to go and grab some more, vegetables and stuff. Like we have to go gather because everything else is destroyed. So while they're standing there, like going to go off to look, you see Akira standing there. He's kind of like frightened. He's like shaking. And then as he like runs up, he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, hi, I'm coming." You end up seeing like this massive bear print in the ground.
This episode's gonna be like 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
Oh
probably.
God.
So you end up seeing him go. So they go out there foraging, and as they're foraging, you end up seeing the girls end up seeing like eyes, and it's a giant bear. So they get chased out by the bear, and the teachers are calling to them, and they're like, "Hey, come get between something." So Sawada's like, "Come on over here by the picnic table." So they all run behind the picnic table. The bear kind of slams into it. They all get up. They run away. This is again where the ridiculous starts again because Sawada falls, and then Yuya just rushes over and just grabs the bear. And they're like in this like wrestling
It's
hold.
happening.
They're like wrestling hold and like going back and forth. And then you end up seeing him like latch onto the bear, and he like lifts him up in the air.
It.
Yeah.
And then he suplexed the bear.
And he like slams him into the ground, and it's just so freaking hilarious. And then I like Sawada's like, "Oh yeah, hey, thanks. You know, if if you want, you can have me as a reward." It's like, no, thank you.
And like the other like teachers are like, you could be a little bit more professional here. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell are you saying?
Like, what are you doing? So
Yeah.
he ends up going out into the forest. So he's waiting now for Lexia to show up, and he's training a little bit. He ends up getting this mask on, and they show up and they're all confused, like, Yuya, is that you? Because they've never seen him in this mask before. So we end up seeing Knight ends up tackling. He ends up tackling Lexia to the ground, and then we just see this tree start falling. And he starts investigating around, and he ends up seeing the strings, these kind of like clear strings. So next, you see Knight is basically like, "Come, follow me, follow me." So he ends up rushing over, and he leads her over to
Well,
where
also jumping back to the episode with Luna is Knight though
he
was
didn't like
kind of
her.
wordy about Luna. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's something I don't like about her. So
Yeah, and well, and the thing is, so as they approach, she's walking away thinking she failed, and Yuya comes in and kind of like hits her, and she ends up bashing her head on a rock, and he ends up seeing her face, and he's like, "Oh," and he makes note of it, and he says, "You recognize her right away, didn't you, Knight?" And he kind of like,
Mhm.
he's kind of like, "Yes." And then this is where Alexia shows up, and she's like, "Do you know this person?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I'd like, before you like pass your judgment on her, I'd like to, heal her wounds. So if you don't mind, like, I'd like to take her back to my place and heal her wounds." So he ends up picking her up, and he's like, "I'd like to kind of have a chance to give me a little bit of time to like talk to her," because he's like, "I know her. I don't think she would actually do that. Like, I want to know why." So they're
Mhm.
running off. So they're basically running, and Lexia's like, "Yeah, I agree. I'm going with you to your place too, because like I want to know what you guys' relationship is, and I want to know why she attacked me too."
Everyone is just trying to get with Yuya.
Yeah.
Like this whole like it is like it is basically a harem
Oh
like
yeah,
anime,
100%.
but but they do it in like a subtle way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They do it a little bit differently than the traditional sense.
Yeah. So then
So
he ends up using the portal. They go through the portal, and then that's pretty much the end of the episode. They end up back at his place.
so yeah, we get to Luna's backstory in the
Yep.
beginning of episode 9, where she's an orphan and she was struggling and she was taken in and raised by an assassin from the Dark Guild, right? So that's kind of where she learned her abilities, got her strength and stuff like that. Um,
Sounds like Zabuza and Haku.
Basically, it's very much like Zabuza and Haku. So, right, exactly. And then so Alexia is like, okay, I have determined that like Luna is not really bad person,
Yeah.
and now Luna is like also worried because like, well, as assassin, if you fail, the organization I work for is gonna come after and kill me. And I just tried to kill the princess, so like you guys are gonna
Either
kill
way,
me.
I'm
Like I
dead.
should just get killed. I'm
Yeah.
just dead. Like my life is just dead. And so Dexter's like, this is my biggest problem with this character, where she's just the classic. Everything will be okay. Everyone can be friends. Like so, I don't like it. Like this character.
Yeah,
Like this. I
and
like
I
choice.
know from her point of view she was trusting Yuya's judgment, but again, it's like Yuya very specifically says too that he doesn't like, they train, and that was basically it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know like
Fully
a whole lot.
right, and then she's
So
like,
basically, Daxia is like, okay, well now, well you just tried to kill me, so wait for me to protect you. Is like I will trust you and have you now as my like personal bodyguard.
yeah,
So
because
I thought
with
that's
the
like kind of
royal,
neat too.
she's like, with the royal
Mm,
protection, it would be hard for people to actually, like, the assassins to get near you.
that too.
Yeah,
And she was like, obviously, she's like, your skills are like great from like what you were saying and stuff like that
yeah,
too. So Duna and Nexia have bath together, and this is where they're like, "What's your relationship with him? What's your relationship with him?" And then they have a declaration of war in
Yeah,
love.
in love. Yeah. Yeah, and she basically like, yeah, I'm gonna win his heart. No, I'm gonna win it, and it's just like, yeah, again, just like declaration of battle. And I like how
And
petty
then
they get
next,
into it because they go back to
hmm
his place and they're like waiting on him to cook, and Lexia is basically like, oh, I'll do the cooking. She starts swinging her knife. I hate when they do this in anime where it's like people are not this useless. Where like she's like raising her head up and just like slamming the knife down, and she ends up throwing the knife at them, and then that's when they're like,
oh my
okay,
god,
I'm gonna cook now.
yeah. So like I understand if she couldn't cook. Like
Yeah,
the one thing I understand if like the fact that these people don't even know how to use a knife.
I know.
That's my big like you just can use common sense to kind of use a knife, right? A knife film. And so because of this, like there's a lot like this is one of those anime tropes I do not like that
Yeah,
they had in here, one of the anime cliches. But yeah.
yeah. So then he preps the meals, and then Luna is trying to like gain some sort of an advantage over Lexia with Yuya. So she basically starts like, "Oh, I'm actually really pretty sore. You should feed me because I'm so sore."
Yeah, and then next year it's like,
Starts
oh no, you should
pouting.
feed me
Yeah,
too.
she starts
Yeah,
pouting, and
exactly.
then they
And
just
then
go this
they're
back
both
and
like, oh,
forth.
now it's our turn to
Yeah,
feed you. And he's just like, oh, what? It was just a bit crazy.
yeah. So earlier on
But at
too,
the.
I was gonna say earlier on, I like how Lexia actually explains to Yuya that the magic you use, a teleportation magic, she basically says like you can't show that magic to anyone, just anyone here. She kind of warns him, basically saying like this magic is a stuff like in legends, like it's only referenced in fairy tales. So the fact that you can
Mhm.
do it means you're fairy tale level. So she's like,
Yeah, like,
don't showcase this to
exactly.
anyone.
I.
Yeah, and then again they all fall asleep, and then they end up meeting up with Owen the next day. Uh,
Yeah, it was great. Luna and Nexia were sleeping
yeah, they're
together. They were in the same
cuddling.
bed. It was so cute. Kawaii. So, yeah, so after that, Luna ends up joining Nexia as her bodyguard. And so he finds a new pet. It is like a pig,
Yeah,
and he names it Akatsuki. And that's kind of the ending of the anime where he is back at school and they showcase that they're going to have the
a ball
ball
tournament.
tournament,
Yeah,
which is like the weirdest thing. And they started off with soccer match here. So he was like the goalie, right? And then like there was like a crazy kick that happened and he stops it and he's like, oh well, I never really played the sport, so I don't know what to do next.
yeah.
And then it was like Akira was like, oh yeah, you just oh, is
No,
it Ryu?
Ryu. He was like, just
Ryu's
throw
like,
it as
oh yeah,
hard as
just
you
throw it
can.
as hard as you can, and he
Yeah.
like throws it all the way to the other goal, and he's like, did I get a point? And they're like, that's what you're worried about? Like, what the heck?
Oh, I know. This one
So
was
it's the
just
end of the
absolutely
episode,
hilarious.
but
Yeah,
this episode 10 is like the main like again, this is where I had like a huge
issue.
problem in
Yep.
like the beginning. I was just like, I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so they end up showing Yuya's walking to school. He's with Ryu and Shingo. So he's approached by somebody who's like in a suit and like glasses, like hands him the card, basically saying he's representing the modeling agency. And the boss is kind of like sitting on the car, like or like cross, he's like shaking, like, "Come on, hurry up!" It's obvious he's gonna side with us. And he's offered the job again as a model. And he turns it down. And the other two guys now are like confused, like, wait, why are they asking you? So the guy like pulls out the magazine that shows him as like a feature with Mew, and they're all like, "Oh my god, like you're with her, like this is so cool." And then the boss
Yeah.
is like trying to like bully him into like doing it, like, "Come on, you have to do this, you have to like this." And she like looks to Mew, who's now with them as well. And she's like, "This is why I brought you here. Go tell him to do it. Go talk to him." So then Kaori starts running up, and she's got the flyer for the sports ball tournament. And then the boss gets the idea, seeing the forums, like, okay, yeah, this is how we're gonna get the photo shoot. And she like grabs her guys, she's like, come on, we're gonna go talk to the dean, we're gonna get this done. So she like takes off. So we end up going. So it ends up that's kind of like the start ending of that part, and then it shows him training in the other world. So he decides he wants to go deeper into the forest a little bit, and he ends up into a different type of forest than he's used to, and he starts kind of feeling a little bit lightheaded, and he starts checking the status of the trees, and it says that it makes the air like almost like a really fog, like a haze, and the trees are extremely hard, and you can't actually scratch them or knock them down by regular attacks. So you then see him being attacked by this giant boar. It's a mithril boar, and all of a sudden he hears a voice saying, "Well, I'm gonna help you." And the boar is now just knocked down with like one attack, and then you end up seeing like this glowing light, and he looks over, and it's a rabbit.
Nice.
He's looking at him. He's like, "A rabbit?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm a rabbit."
This rabbit was also foreshadowed a little bit earlier
Yeah,
to talking to
Utah or UT.
Utah.
UT.
Utah? UT, sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
talking to UT. Mm-hmm.
And so he basically is talking to him like, "Yeah, you're gonna be my guy. You're gonna be the one that I want as my apprentice." And then the boar stands up, and tries to attack them again, and you just see the rabbit just turn and just do like a kick, and then it shows like the up of the top of the forest, and there's like this massive shockwave, and he just completely destroys the boar, and all of these like really tough trees around him, like this giant circle, it just wipes them all out in one kick. And he basically explains that he's a god, and he's looking for somebody to teach his technique to. And he's like, "I want all of you to show me your kicks." He's like, "Come on, show me them." So they all step up, and they all fail except for Yui. And he's like, "Yep, you're the guy. You're gonna be my apprentice." So they go back to Yuya's cabin, and they're talking a little bit about it. And Yuya says, like, "Do I have to accept the title? Can I just not?" He's like, "No, you don't have to accept it." So Yuya basically says, like, "Look, I don't want the title, but I will help protect the people I care about in this world."
And he was like big on this, like the whole, like again, like it's the same thing as like he's turned down the agency and he's turned down being like this god successor thing.
Yeah,
Like, so he is turning down like these really like important things because like I just want to just live my life.
yeah,
Right? He's like, I just kind of
yeah. That no,
want to
that's
just enjoy
basically it.
my life.
Yeah. So then the rabbit basically says, like, "Look, I'll still train you, even though you don't want the title, but I want you to train me in magic." So they kind of come to like a handshake agreement while they're going to train each other, basically. Um, so now we end up going back to school, and it's the start of the sports ball festival. So Yuya is assigned ping pong as his first matchup. So he sees this like
Yeah.
really big buff guy shows up, and he's like,
Well, also, the agency, the photo shoot agency,
"Yeah,
wanted him to do a photo shoot with Mio again.
yeah,
And when he turned them down, they're like, you know what? We'll just take the photo shoot here at the scooter.
yeah,
So they're like now at the scooter and they
yeah,
are just now taking like they're
photos,
doing their photo shoot
yeah,
about him and like the other people I guess at the scooter and stuff like
yeah."
that. Right?
So he ends up seeing the guy who shows up, and is like this big buff guy, and he's like, "Is he really in high school?" And they end up saying that, "Oh yeah, he's actually a national champion, and he never misses a point he tries for." And he shows him like basically scoring, catches Yuya off guard and ends up scoring the first point. And then he ends up going and like serving another one to Yuya. Now this one I wasn't like too like, okay, like whatever. So Yuya ends up like powering a shot back, and it goes through the table. Like he sends the ball through the table. This one I wasn't too bad on, because like I can understand, because the night before while he was training with the rabbit, he ends up actually evolving, and the rabbit says like you're going to be physically stronger, but it doesn't like affect like your body, your look, right? So
Because he was worried about that. He's like, oh, well,
yeah,
I don't want to like affect my
from
look too much
appearance,
because
right?
Yeah,
I
my
just got hot.
appearance. Mm.
So
Do not say that. Oh.
so I can understand him at first with with that, him like getting used to his power, right? So next, you see him. He's standing like he basically withdraws. He's like, "Okay, I resign," and he runs off. And he's sitting there and he's like holding his chest, like, "Oh my god, that's so scary! Like I just powered it like that." So then Kade runs over and she's like, "Come on, we need somebody for volleyball." She has out like dragging him into the volleyball game, and then everyone's now like, "Oh yeah, Yuya's here. We got this." So then you
Oh, they
literally see,
got it all
oh
right.
yeah, so you literally see it. All you hear is just boom, and then it shows them, and the volleyball net is completely down, and there's this giant like hole in like the gym floor. Like he smashes the gym floor. There's like boards popping up everywhere, and then the other team is just like, "We quit." So,
Oh, and
uh,
then Kyrie comes out. Is like, oh no, we need someone to play the Tensu game. And at this point, he like kind of controls his power more, and it's revealed that Kyrie is awful at Tensu.
oh, she keeps sending
So
her racket flying at people and like everything, and I love this. The boss is trying to like, she's like, "Okay, show me the photos you got." And like literally, she's like looking through the photos, and they're all of just Kane's chest. Like every one of them is just of her chest. She's like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" So in this moment, though, she gets the picture she wants because Kaori ends up tripping, and then Yuya like grabs a hold of her, and they have like this sweet moment where they're looking into each other's eyes, and then that's where they're like, "Oh yeah, click, 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 click," and they're all like getting like
did you
the,
get that? You got that?
yeah,
Yeah.
you
Like,
got
oh, don't
that.
worry, we got it.
And I like the ending of this because like so at the end Kaori basically like waits for him and they end up walking home together. And I like this moment because she ends up telling him, so he walks ahead of her on the crosswalk and she goes, "Wait, stay there." She's like, "Could you actually close your eyes?" And then he's like, "Okay." And then you see her run up and he's like opens his eyes again. He's like, "Wait, what did you do to me?" And she's like, "That's my secret." And then it shows her, and she ended up like kissing him on the cheek. It was just really cute.
Mhm.
I actually do like
Yeah,
the
I
two
thought
of
the
them.
Kisu was very cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's great that you like the two of them because episode 11 starts with Kaori and Yuya studying together for exam week. And Kaori actually like learns about Yuya and the other world, and he kind of takes it to the other side, and he's like, "Yeah, this is like like my grandpa's house and stuff like that." And he was kind of explaining how like the different world, like he's like, "Yeah," he was explaining to sorry he was explaining to her like, yeah, this is how I'm able to do all like these like crazy
All these
things
things
and
you
stuff like
see.
that.
Yeah.
And he's like worried. He's like, I hope it's like, I hope you're not like weirded out or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can't really tell anyone either. And she's kind of overjoyed with this. She's like, oh wow, so like you
It's
never
like a
showed anyone
secret.
else this. Like oh, so we have like secret though. So
Yeah.
I thought that was like really cute thing between them. And then yeah.
Yeah, and then there's not much. Like you see they're back at the as you see it's back in the other world and they're showcasing stuff that's happening. So you end up seeing Usagi the rabbit. He's battling Yuti at first. And she's kind of like complimenting his magic a little bit. And he says, "Well, I'm still learning, but it's all thanks to my teacher Yuya." And she basically stops and she's like, "Wait, that's an unknown factor. I don't like that." And she's like, "You know what? My
Mm-hmm.
my target's changed. I'm now gonna go kill Yuya first, and then I'll come back for you." So she's immediately switched now her target, where she's now like, "Okay, now I'm gonna target Yuya." Um, so then we end up seeing the masked man again, and he's basically explaining, what had happened. Okay, why is she still alive? Like, what's happening? And he's like, "You know what? Like, you guys are gonna fix this. I'm gonna give you a foolproof plan to take them all out." So he's like, "I'm gonna give you my secret weapon, and it's a magic jammer." So it's like once it activates, it's gonna cut off their magic, and then they're not gonna have any like they're not gonna be able to, have anyone else on the outside interfere in this. Like everything will be cut off. Um, so then it ends up showing Yuya training in the woods before heading off to the capital. So I think it's hilarious. So he
Tell
gets
me.
to the first city, and he's like walking around. He's like, you know what? I don't actually have any money in this world because everything gets converted to his in Japanese yen. So he's like, I'm gonna find a spot. So I was looking around, he ends up finding like a trader. So he goes in, he's like, yeah, I got some goods to sell, and he's like, yeah, let me take a look at it. He ends up pulling out these basic like
Papa.
pepper, just basic spices. And Buddy's like losing his mind, like, oh my god, the glass, the quality. He's like, I have been in this business for a while, and I've never seen anything this good. And he ends up, I'm gonna buy it all, 100 gold. And then Yuya's
Yeah.
like,
And he's
uh,
like, wait, I don't know if that's a lot.
yeah,
Like, I
like
don't know what that means.
I don't
And
know,
he's like, oh yeah, it could, like a family of four can live off of it for 20 years without working a single day.
yeah, yeah. So he's like, oh, okay. So he asks him, he's like, how do I get to the capital? And he's like, well, he goes, at the end of the city, there is these carts, and they'll, just ask one of them, they'll take you, kind of thing. And it shows him he's inside, and he's heading up to the capital. So we'd have seen him walking around the capital at first. He's so amazed by everything because again, it's like he's taking in like the cat girls, the dogs. He's like taking in everything as he's like wandering around.
I would also take into cat girls.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. So he ends up get meeting Owen, who's now at the gate, and
And yet I chose to make my VTubing model a normal person.
well, exactly.
I had the opportunity.
So he ends up going in and he ends up meeting the king, who's immediately like pouting and all like, "Oh yeah, this is the guy trying to seduce her." And he's all like, so then he's like pouting. He's like, "All right, where's the gift? Where's the gift?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't actually bring one." He's like, "Wait, I got something." He ends up like offering her bedding. It was just one of the things to like, as he was like killing like a monster before they showed up, they end up getting it. So the king is now enraged and like flipping out, like trying to like kill him. And then Owen's like, okay, like
Oh,
there's a meaning to this. He's like, he doesn't know our customs. He's like, okay, well, like he's like, when you give bedding to a person, and then it shows Lexi, who's like, it means that you want to marry them and share a bed together. So the king is still trying to attack him, but then the assassins actually move in. They end up using their jammer and thinking that now they've got the advantage. And then Yuya's like, oh, okay, like whatever. He just runs around and just attacks them all. Like he's so fast
yeah,
and
he's
like
just able to like immediately defeat them, and
yeah.
they're so shocked. They're like, what the heck?
And then
Okay.
and then Owens points out that one of them had the royal seal. Like they had like a pin or a crest of the royal. So they knew that the prince was involved in this. So we end up learning that that's who the masked man is the prince.
And that is the start of episode 12, where it is revealed that Nexia's older brother is the assassin.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's Nexia and Duda are fighting over who is going to show like Yuya around the capital. So they
Yeah.
kind of just both end up going to show, and this is funny because he go register at the Adventures Guild, and then so here he's just like, oh, like he has to like write down like what kind of magic he knows. Like, well, I'll just write down like the three basic like magics that I know, and then he also has to calculate his magic with this orb, and
Yeah.
the orb shatters. He just blows it up, and then the girl's like, "Oh my god, like that is crazy,
That is ridiculous.
right?" And
Yeah.
that is ridiculous. And then when she's reading over like his stats and stuff, she's like, "What? You can use three type of magic?" And he's like, yeah." And then she's like, "That's like classified as like fairy tale. Like no one should be able to use three." Which is funny because he already died and could have put like way more.
I know. Oh, it was
We learned about like
hilarious.
the basic, like, you know how the guilds want, like guild and like doing requests and stuff.
Yeah.
Like just very basic things like that. You learn about that. So then they go out and they gather ingredients and stuff like that. And but while they are out, the king gets attacked by her brother here, right?
Well, they learn of her brother's location is what it is. So Owen shows
Right.
up and he says, "Yuya, we've learned of the prince's location. We're heading there now. We'd like for you to actually accompany us to help out with his retrieval." And Yuya basically is like, "Okay, you guys go off on your own. I'm gonna go help them." So he ends up going
Mm.
to his house, I guess, and they go inside. They're trying to capture him, and he goes absolutely crazy. He's like wielding knives, and he's like really making it difficult. And then, as they kind of like finally get him subdued, between him and Akatsuki, they end up getting him subdued, and then this is where
Oh yeah.
Yuti shows up.
Sorry.
I love her. I actually love her character.
Oh,
Like she's
Yuti is
one of my
fantastic.
favorite.
I fell in love with this character immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So they end up going through, and they go through an absolutely great battle scene. Um, it's like back and forth, and they're doing their counterattacks and everything. And then she basically is like, you know what? I'm out of energy. I'm just gonna retreat." She's like, "Okay, bye." She like disappears through the
Yeah,
wall.
she's like, "Oh, I'm out of stamina. I
Yeah,
cannot
I'm
continue
done.
this battle." So,
She's
and
like,
that's how the episode ends.
"No,
Mm.
is it there or is it? I can't remember. Is it the end of this one or is it the beginning of 13 where it showcases her brother, the
That's the
trial?
episode. That's the start
13.
of the 13.
Okay.
Hi. Mm.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
ends up showcasing the trial of her brother. Um,
Oh, this is ridiculous. Like again, I have a problem when like animes don't like to kill off people. Where I'm just like, oh, just kill them.
so they end up asking Yuya to come and be a witness to the trial. So he agrees and he ends up going in and they go through and they're like reading going through the charge and stuff. We get a little bit of the backstory where Lexia was learning her magic and
Mm.
she lost control of it a little bit and she ended up is it burning his face.
Yeah, like messing him up.
Yeah. And then he battled with a curse where he was disfigured and he started going mad crazy, and because of his craziness he was scratching and pulling at his face, and it kept like making the scars deeper and deeper, and that's where he had his whole entire grudge with Lexia. And she basically Yuya senses all this and hears it was a curse and all this stuff, and he's like, you know what, I'd like to try something, and he ends up trying the cure all herb potion he has, and it of course it ends up completely healing him, healing his scars, his face, like everything. And then of course, like you say, this is where good girl Lexia basically is like, no, I'm gonna forgive him. We don't actually have to kill him as long as we forgive him. I forgive him, so Father, you should too. And of course, her dad's like, I don't want to. Like, no. And she's like, you're gonna forgive him. She starts pouting again and like flipping out. And then, of course, she's like, okay, I forgive him too. So then you don't have to worry about his crimes because I forgive him. And then Rhaegar is, I think, yeah, Rhaegar is his name. He's like, he goes over and he checks himself out in the mirror. He's now like, oh yeah, I'm super hot again. He's like, yeah, this is great. And then they decide to, they're discussing like how to compensate Yuya for everything. And then like she's like, well, why don't you just give him my hand in marriage? And then Ludo's like, no, mine would be better. And they like go this back and forth battle, and then they decide to just give him all of Rhaegar's old land and house title, essentially. And then Yuya's kind of like sitting in the castle, and he can feel the presence out there of Yuti. Like he's almost like, I know she's watching me kind of thing. And he's really like struggling on what to do as far as like a battle with her. because he's actually like starting to become genuinely afraid of this one.
Well, uh, it's just too bad because the battle basically begins. There's like
Yep.
no like build, there's no lead up because it's the last episode, and so because of that, like Sunny the rabbit step in here and is like, oh, I'll try to like we also were learning too a little bit as they are fighting why UT is like fighting like she hates all humans because they think they like did her master wrong, like to she was doing it to
It's almost
avenge
the
her
same thing.
master.
It almost so it's the same thing that happened to the sage happened to her master. So she
Mm-hmm.
was really like down and like really was like vengeful. Like I want to kill everything, right? And then of course, while the two of them are battling, Kaori ends up wandering in to Yuya's house and wanders through the door, and it's basically like standing in the yard, like looking around for him, like I wonder where Yuya is. And she hears like the bang and like the smoke from the battle. So she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go find him," even though he's
I'm just
literally
yelling.
told
I'm
her,
just yelling. I'm just like, stop. Like,
"Yeah,
because I thought, like, we're going to get to the, like, everything up to this point was fantastic. I'm
yeah,
like, please, like,
don't
don't,
don't mess it
like, you
up."
let these other characters die. You let these other characters live. I'm like, please don't kill Kaori.
Yeah. So she ends up wandering and finds them, and then she ends up like witnessing the battle. So he battles on with UT, and she again explains the stuff with her master, and then this is where Usagi shows up and helps him out, kind of thing. I
hmm
was expecting for her to die. I really was. I was expecting for
I
Yuki
know.
to die.
I like, yeah. UT, I really expected to die, but I
Yeah.
liked. I thought the fight scene was like really,
Yes.
really, really good, and she unleashes the true power of the vial, as it is said,
Yeah.
right? And so Akatsuki takes away her power, like
He has a block of it because he's more of like
yeah.
he's actually like a god pig essentially.
Yeah. Exactly. So he's like, "Oh, I have the ability to like take away her power,"
Yeah.
and then she gets knocked out by Yuya, right? And so even after all this, Kaori is just like, now Yuyu's like, "Well, now you've seen like what I can do. Like this is probably like you probably don't even want to talk to me anymore." And she's like, kind of like more like enamored with him than ever.
Yeah, essentially.
So, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say except for the ending where UT ends up joining his class, like in the real world,
Yeah.
when I thought she probably should have died. But yeah, I really liked UT's character design overall.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, I love girls with silver hair. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, don't look at my hair.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
So yeah, this was a long one because there's 13 episodes and we really had a lot to say about this one. So
Yeah.
this is definitely a much longer episode than some of the other ones. But uh, unfortunately, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So I don't know how many of you would actually sit here and listen to this for 2 hours, but hopefully a few of you do. Okay, so I'm curious on the score that you gave it.
Yeah, like I said, I love the art design. I love the story. I like the back and forth. Like you said, I really like the addition that they did with the slice of life stuff with the isekai, where it was a little bit of the both, where it kept the
Mm-hmm.
story fresh because there was stuff happening over here, stuff happening over here, and there wasn't actually like outside of Kaori near the end, there wasn't really that overlap between them, right? So
Yeah,
it was really like really well done the way that they did it this way. And like I said, I like how like for him, like he recognizes all of his power, all of his skills, all of everything is really all the sage. And he immediately recognizes all of it. And like I said, I love the way that they did it. I loved a lot of the character designs. Yeah, for me, this one here was probably like an 8.4 is where I had this one myself.
I really love the animation design as well. A
Yep.
lot of the like just the way things looked.
Yep.
It looked really good, and I can't explain it. The way the hair shines in this anime like is really good.
Yeah.
They took a lot of attention to detail with that. The music was pretty decent. I don't actively remember like things like it being like over the top great. It was just
It was there. It fit.
classic. It is just
Yeah.
basic anime music,
Yeah.
but it was good. It was there. It was good. It fit obviously. Real quick, the opening song was Gyakuten Geki, and the ending song was Hachimitsu. So if you're interested in looking those two up, the opening and the ending song were like just they were fine. The ending song was like I think the ending song was
I
better, but
enjoyed the ending song. I enjoyed the ending song more than the opening. Like they were both
yeah, me
okay,
too.
but I enjoyed the ending more than the opening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so overall, like I actually gave this 8.3. Oddly enough, of course, we were just like that close to getting a lot of scores, but I really enjoyed it for the most part. This is one that I could just really see myself like, oh, I don't really know what I want to watch. I just want to put something on for like
Yeah.
background. This is something that like I feel like comfortable just having on my TV.
Yeah.
There's not
Same.
really over. They never really over sexualize anyone.
No.
Like they have the classic like bath scene, and they have the classic like girls changing and stuff like that. But they don't really over like there wasn't a whole lot of. It wasn't overdone really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this like one of those more safe sort of animes,
Yeah.
and I really really like the fact that they just took out like most of the stupid cliches
Yeah.
that like animes have. So I was really like happy with them not overusing that. So yeah, it is a solid like 8.3 for me. It's like it is definitely a B grade for me. Like it is one I could just feel like I could just put on almost any day and enjoy what I watch.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, this was definitely a long episode. Whoever
Yeah.
makes it through here, we are so thankful for you sitting here and listening to us for 2 hours. So, if you like isekai anime, well, this is our month of isekai anime. So, come back next time and definitely listen to us. Yeah, we are. Oh, also, this is the month of March. So there's also keep your eyes out on our socials because we have a lot of fun things coming out starting this month. So we hope you enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
I
Again, like she said, like we do appreciate everything. We appreciate all the follows, all the shares, all the likes. Please comment. Please tell us how we're doing. If you like us, don't like us, what you want us to do. We do appreciate all engagement. Again, like she said, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify as well. Again, we appreciate everything, and we'll see you guys next episode.
またねー。